Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay. Well, let's learn English together. Well, hello there everyone, and please allow me to welcome you all to the studio once more. Well, we're all here, me and the crew. Muddy, the director, is sitting in the big chair, watching us all like a hawk. No, not Ethan Hawke. I said that Muddy, the director, is watching us like a hawk. You know, the bird. The bird of prey. Okay. Anyway, yes, that's better. Okay, now, where was I? Oh, yes. So we're here. Here in the 3rd district. Here in the capital of Hungary. Here in the studio, getting ready for the 2nd day of revision in this week of revision. And so, can I ask the question, are you all ready? Did you sleep well? Was your breakfast nice? Did you have a good morning? Is the dog behaving normally? Is the cat sleeping? Okay, well, everything is relative. Gusti the dog will never be really normal, but that's the way he is. Margot the cat is sleeping, and that's normal for a cat. And what about George? What do you mean, who's George? George! George the goldfish! Oh, he's dead. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, he could be better, couldn't he? Okay, well, poor old George has popped his clogs, has he? Oh, well, we'll need to get another animal to replace him. I'll have a think about it and we'll see what other animal we can find. Okay, so let's forget about George. He's dead to us. And now we can continue with our revision. Are you ready? I bet you are. So, let's get stuck in. So, it's time to ask that question again. Gods of English, are you ready? I can't hear you. Now, listen to me, hear me, follow my instructions. Fill your lungs with as much air as you can. Suck it all in. Pack as much nitrogen and oxygen into your breathing apparatus as you can. And get ready to shout, scream, shriek, yell, holler, and bellow your answer. This time. Now, come on. Prepare yourself. Pull yourself together. Pull your socks up. Pull your finger out. Take a deep breath. Make this the biggest breath in the history of your pulmonary airbags. And let me hear you. I'm here in the studio asking you the question of the day. Are you ready? Now that's better. That's the answer I was looking for. Good. So, I'm ready, the crew's ready, Chobber, the sound engineer, possibly has permanently damaged hearing, and you're all ready. So, what are we waiting for? Let's make a start. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to get started today with something which isn't 100% new. We met this a few weeks back, but I want us to look at it again. Do you remember what we learned about comparing things? Yes, of course you do. Well, we know that with short adjectives, those adjectives with one syllable, we make the comparative form of the adjective by adding ER to the end of the adjective. Cold becomes colder, and tall becomes taller. Fine. We also know that when the adjective ends in vowel plus consonant, we have to double the last letter before we add the ER. So big becomes bigger and hot becomes hotter. Great. Now, we also remember that if the adjective ends in E, then we don't add ER, we only add R. Nice becomes nicer and tame becomes tamer. It would be silly to try and say something like nicer or tamer, wouldn't it? We also know that if the adjective ends in a Y, then when we make the comparative form, we replace the Y with IER. Steady becomes steadier, and trendy becomes trendier. So, we also know that there are a couple of irregular adjectives. Now, this is a bit of a problem, but it's not a really big problem, is it? With irregular things in English, we know that we can't follow a pattern. There isn't a pattern. So, what do we have to do? That's right, we have to learn them. It's simple. There's no choice. Learn them and remember them. And that's it. So we know that good becomes better. In addition, we also know that well also becomes better. Besides these two, we know that bad becomes worse. Okay, great, fab. Now we also know how to make comparative forms for adjectives which are longer. When we're dealing with adjectives with 2 or 3 or 4 syllables, then we don't change the base adjective in any way. No. We leave the base adjective and put more in front of it. This way, the comparative form of interesting is more interesting, not interestinger. And the comparative form of the adjective approximate is not approximater, but more approximate. Good, great, green, grey, gravy, groovy. Now, we know that we often use comparative adjectives with the word than. It makes it simpler for people to understand what we're comparing. If I tell you that I'm more intelligent, then that's only half a sentence, really. There's a big question hanging in the air. We're left hanging, expectant, waiting for the rest of the information. More intelligent than who or what? We need to finish the sentence. We need to provide the rest of the sentence with than something. Otherwise, it just sounds unfinished. Now, if you remember the first time we met the comparative, we learned that Modi is 42 and I am 46. This means that I am older. Now, in this example, we have a complete idea. We know who I am older than. We introduced that idea first. We told everyone what we were comparing. Ages. Muddy's age and my age. So that sentence, that idea is complete. Now listen if I just say the than version without giving you the complete sentence. I am older. Do you see? Did you hear how strange that sounds? It's a half-finished sentence. We're waiting for the other part of the sentence. We feel that we need the other information. Taller? Okay, but taller than what? Taller than who? So it sounds much, much nicer, much more normal when we make a whole sentence, when we use than to make the sentence whole, when we complete the comparison by telling people what we're comparing. So, let's just listen to a few examples. Listen to the difference between these sentences. Just listen to how unfinished the sentence sounds when we don't give the information about what the comparison is. This car is smaller. I am uglier. This is more expensive. He is slower. She is more careful. Now, did you hear how the sentences sound? Well, not finished. We expect to hear the other part of the comparative sentence. Our brains are waiting for the whole idea. We expect to hear smaller than something or someone. Now, listen again as I repeat the sentences, this time with a complete comparison. This car is smaller than the other car. I am uglier than George Clooney's dog. This is more expensive than a Louis Vuitton suitcase. He is slower than a one-legged cat. She is more careful than her brother. Now, didn't those sentences sound better? They did, didn't they? That's the difference we made. We gave information about what or who the comparison was with, and pow! Immediately, the sentence sounds complete. Now it's a full sentence, a real sentence, a sentence where nothing is missing. It's a much better sentence. So, when we make comparisons, when we compare things, we have to remember that our brains are programmed in a certain way. Our brains are programmed to expect a comparison to feature at least two things. If we create a sentence to make a comparison, our brain expects to hear what we're comparing. Our brain needs to hear when something is smaller, taller, longer, thinner, slimmer, bigger than. If we don't say what we're comparing something to, then the sentence sounds silly. The sentence sounds half-finished, and people will look at you waiting for you to finish the sentence. Great! And yes, you all know what I'm going to say now, don't you? Yes, you guessed correctly. I was just about to say that, unfortunately, our 15 minutes has come to an end. Our lesson for the day, our revision lesson where we had another look at what we saw in week 32, has reached the end. So, I'd just like to thank you for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and remember, always remember, that if you want to have another look at our lessons, all of our lessons, and also the main, most important vocabulary from all of our lessons, then all you have to do, it's really very simple. All you have to do is get onto the internet and put m5tv.hu into the address bar. You know, the little strip near the top of the screen where you type internet addresses. Anyway, put M5 TV in there and you'll be transported to the M5 TV internet page. And when you're on the M5 TV internet page, then you can either search for Szólalj Meg, or you can find the show in the alphabetical list of all the shows on M5. All right, people, that's all from me, and that's all from us. So, enjoy the rest of the day, have a great evening, have a restful night, and we'll see you all again. Same time, same place, in front of your TV tomorrow. See you later. Bye.